As a doctor, I am someone who has built the skill of self-confidence, but I have also been the high school student who did not think that I was capable of passing even a basic college chemistry class. And I have been the medical student who was convinced that I was going to fail my first hospital rotation. In short, I have spent many days of my life feeling utterly inept and feeling like my goals were almost laughable. Like it was comical that I would actually think that I was capable of such a thing. So if that resonates with you, if that sounds familiar, I think this video found you for a reason. I want you to hear my story, and I really hope it changes your perspective, because I truly believe that self-confidence is a skill that any one of us is capable of cultivating. But we are often not taught the truth, and oftentimes the harsh truth, about how to actually build it. And I hate to break it to you, it is not through affirmations or visualizations or just blind positive thinking. It is through struggling, being wrong, making mistakes, absolutely fucking up, sitting with tough problems. I promise though, this does not have to suck. You do not have to be miserable in the process, and I'm going to tell you why. Just stick with me. So when I was in high school, I had a really complicated relationship with science, particularly physics and chemistry. I found them really challenging in a way that pretty much no other subject was, and because of that, I brought a lot of resistance to the process of learning them, of even attempting to learn them. But in the back of my mind, there was this little child voice saying, actually, this could be really cool. I loved doing science projects when I was a kid. My mom was an engineer. We were always doing some sort of experiment or tinkering with something. I really had that interest seeded in me really early on. So I thought, man, if I could get this, if I could really understand this, the process of learning and doing science could actually be the coolest thing ever. But the problem was I did not feel like I understood it at all. And that was reinforced externally as well. I had a physics teacher, I remember my senior year of high school, who at one point said to me, you know what, physics is just something that not everyone's gonna get. Some people get it and some people don't. And it looks like you're gonna be one of the people that just doesn't get it. And at the time I was like, yeah, sure, I probably am. That all tracks, that makes sense. So when the time comes to go to college, I think I'll study business. That way I can avoid ever taking another science class in my entire life. But it turns out after about a year of being a business major, I realized I was bored to tears. And I remember this one day, our class went to go tour a microchip manufacturing facility. And the person giving us the tour gave us some kind of cool intro facts about the science, the technology, and then kind of launched into the business stuff. And during the Q&A, I had tons of follow-up questions about the science and how these chips were made. And I remember the response I got, and I was the only one asking these questions, by the way. The response I got was like, oh, shoot, I don't know. You're going to have to ask the scientists, the engineers about that. In that moment, I realized I'm not interested in the business. I'm interested in the science of this. And I got home that night and I just listened to this deep inner knowing that I was not on the right path and that I needed to give some sort of science a shot. So within a few weeks, I had changed my major to biology. And then within a few months, I was in the midst of biology, chemistry, and physics classes. And they were hard, way harder than being a business major. But I realized something so important. They were hard for everyone. I realized this was supposed to be hard. I wasn't just some mutant who didn't get it, who didn't understand. I finally was at a point of self-awareness in my development as an adult where I could look around and recognize, no, this is hard, it's not me. I realized that if I struggled with a concept, particularly in physics and chemistry, and I sat with it for a long time, put in the work, did a bunch of practice problems, made a ton of mistakes, I would emerge with an actual understanding, and that understanding came not in spite of that struggle, but because of it. And that realization changed absolutely everything for me. I started embracing that process of struggle and mental challenge, so much to the point that I actually changed my major for a final time to physics, because I found that the most challenging and involved the most struggle of all. It's almost like I became hooked or addicted on this process of feeling really overwhelmed at the beginning, struggling through it, making a million mistakes, and then all of a sudden being like, oh, I actually get this. The point is, I had zero confidence in my ability to study physics when I started this journey. All I had was a little flame of curiosity that I felt like I couldn't ignore anymore. There's this positive feedback loop that's been described in psychology called the confidence competence loop. And the idea is, as you build competence in something, you get more confident. And as you get more confident, you want to put in the work, and that makes you in turn more competent. And based on my own experience, this is absolutely something that resonates with me. I feel it so viscerally that this is absolutely true. But the question is, what comes first? Is it confidence or competence? And it's a trick question because the answer is neither. What comes first is some deliberate action. It is going to your first chemistry lecture and just starting your first problem set. Or it could be anything, picking up a guitar for the first time, just giving your first speech if you want to be good at public speaking. Whatever the goal is, just starting, taking some sort of action. And you have to understand and really fully embrace and accept that you are not going to feel comfortable with that first action. You are not going to feel confident or competent at first. But with the first win that you have, after you've struggled with something for hours or days or weeks, and you finally mastered that one thing, no matter how small that one thing is, you finally learn, I can do this. So once you're able to master something, you prove to yourself, I can do something really, really hard. And then guess what? You actually seek out the next hard thing. For me, graduating with a physics degree made me feel so confident in the realm of all things academic. And I thought, I can definitely do medical school. And so I go to medical school, and of course, it's really hard. Some parts more than others. In fact, I would say the first 2 years, which were primarily like classroom based, whether that was lecture or group discussions, weren't so far out of my comfort zone because I was so used to existing in a classroom academic environment. But what really started to test my confidence was when I got on the wards in the hospital as a third year medical student, when the task was to translate what you had learned into practice, into caring for actual patients. And that wasn't a skill that I had mastered. And I remember on my first rotation, I felt like I was completely failing, utterly incompetent, not providing any value, didn't know anything. I didn't even know if I would pass. But of course I couldn't quit then. I didn't have much of a choice. So I kept showing up, put my head down, kept working. And I remember going to my end of rotation feedback, and my reviews were just absolutely glowing. They thought I was doing fantastic. And so I realized, okay, every rotation from here on out is gonna be hard. I'm gonna feel like a complete idiot, a fish out of water, but I am going to struggle through it and get better because of it. And that's just gonna be the process. And here's the really important piece that I want you to take away from this video. I don't have confidence in my ability to understand physics because I now hold a bachelor in physics, that diploma. I don't feel confident in my ability to be a good doctor because I have a medical degree, because I have that piece of paper. I have confidence in these things because I spent so much time struggling through them, living the process, trying and failing and making mistakes. And through all of that, because of all of that, dominating that subject matter and ultimately becoming a master at my chosen craft. Now, am I absolutely confident in every new endeavor I take on? Absolutely not. Right now, I'm on a journey to become bilingual, and there are so many times that I don't feel confident because I don't have that competence yet. But I do know at this point in my life that I am fully capable of mastering virtually anything I set my mind to, and that I can gain confidence in that thing if I actually put in the time. And that confidence will come if I go through this process of struggling, making mistakes, fucking up, feeling like an idiot, and getting a little bit better after each time I fail. And that's why I feel like true confidence is a skill, not something that we just magically grasp for with positive thinking and affirmations. I want to end this video by leaving you with a key mindset shift that I think is really important to help you through this process so that it doesn't feel so miserable. And that is to adopt a beginner's mind, like a child who is learning how to walk or talk or kick a ball or do anything for the first time. With this mindset, you don't judge yourself for being bad at something at first. You're a beginner. Of course you're going to be bad at first. It's expected. It's part of the process, and it's beautiful. There's a phrase that says, if you never let yourself be a foolish beginner, you will never be a graceful master. And I promise you, you will actually look back at those days of being a beginner with nostalgia, because it can actually be really fun if you just have the right mindset around it. That's all I have for you today. I'm so curious to hear what you think in the comments. Please let me know if this resonated with you, if this has helped you at all, and any follow-up questions that you have. And of course, as always, if you like this type of content, please follow along. I would love to have you on my channel in my corner of the internet, and I will see you in the next video.